Hi, David. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Lorraine. How are you?
Good. How are you? Hi,
Good.
David. I don't have a camera on my computer, so I'm going to be incognito.
Incognito, but your name is there in big
I know.
letters.
I see that. My computer crashed.
Oh, bummer. Oh,
And-
good. I don't know.
No, it's not good. So this is an ancient computer that's 14 years old and still works, but the 4-year-old one crashed.
Yeah, what does that tell you?
Yeah, crappy Dells. Initially, they said it would be 3 weeks. Now it's 4 more weeks.
Frustrating at best.
Yeah.
Could be critical. I don't know.
I don't know. I can just
Hi,
be here
David.
with my pajamas.
Your voice isn't on. No. I can see you. Can't hear you. Oh, no. You're silenced.
There we go.
There you are.
And there I fell. So, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. I do all this with my phone, Lorraine. You know, my computer doesn't even have a microphone or a camera. So
Then how come I can see you? Why
because
can't I?
it's on my phone.
I hadn't
I'm
thought of
using my-
that. Oh, okay. I haven't thought of that.
You know, Margie says, well, why don't you just go buy a laptop? And I said, but that would be the only thing I'd be using it for. And how long is this going to last? I mean, otherwise, I don't want to buy
You
it.
never know.
I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
true.
I couldn't live without a computer. I use it for everything except.
Well, yeah, I have one. I mean, I have a
Well,
computer.
yeah, but you work at the university too, so.
No, but I use
you
it
are-
at home too for everything I need to do.
Yeah,
Rather than if I don't have a computer with me, I use my cell phone. But otherwise, why use a tiny little screen when you can use a big one?
especially for certain things you're looking at too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Vern. You're off too.
Here we go.
There you are.
Hey, Vern.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Vern.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Jay.
Good evening.
I have yet to see Jay.
Oh. Because you got a screen that's about this big, that's why.
Well, that's exactly right. I can't see everybody at once. That's exactly right. That's the one limitation. Yep. I can see whoever voices.
Is speaking, yeah.
Yes, but that's all.
Actually, I think David, if you swipe right, I think you can see the gallery view. If you swipe.
Uh-oh, he's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. You moved.
Oh, and you're in a different part of the screen too. Oh, your voice is off again.
There we go. I can see Mary, Bill, and Jay. I can't see everybody.
My computer video is not working. So, but I'm here. This is Lorraine.
Right. Did I unmute again as I swiped right?
Yes,
You're good.
but you're all set
You're good.
now.
I am.
You're good now.
Okay. Great. Well, it's 6:01. Jay, is anybody phoned in that they're not going to be here?
No.
Okay. I can't see you, Jay, but it doesn't matter, I suppose. Let's begin. I'll call the meeting to order. It is 6:01 on April 6th, 2021. And the first order of business is roll call. So let's take it to Vern Wyman,
Here.
Mary Talbot Robbiano,
Here.
Lorraine Jubert,
Here.
Matt Bradywood, Ann Heffron, and Chris O'Connor.
Here.
So Jay, we still have a quorum, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. First order of business is the approval of the minutes from November 3rd, 2020 and December 1st, 2020. Does anybody have any corrections or adjustments or amendments to make on any of those meetings?
No,
Okay. Excuse me. I'm going to do acceptance and motions separately for each of the meetings. So let's have a motion to accept the November 3rd minutes.
I'll motion.
Okay,
to
Mary.
accept November 3rd minutes.
Okay, Mary makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
I will second.
Okay, Vern Wyman seconds it. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, on the December 1st minutes, any adjustments, amendments, or additions? Okay, hearing none. Do I hear a motion to accept the December 1st, 2020 minutes? Come on.
I'll motion.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Second,
I'll second. This is Lorraine.
Lorraine, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Very good, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr.
How
Chairman,
about January?
Yes,
just
Jay.
just for clarification, the January minutes were on the agenda. However, the December minutes were not.
You're right. Okay. Okay, let's, any questions on the January 5th, 2021 minutes? Additions
No.
or hearing none, do I hear a motion to accept the January 5th minutes?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mary. Second,
I'll second. This is
Thanks.
Lorraine.
Matthew Bradywood is here.
thank you, Matt. Hearing no discussion, do I hear, let's vote on the approval of the January 5th meetings. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Very good, that's completed. Okay, no old business for this meeting. New business is discussions of the newly formed Friends of the Saugatucket and the upcoming cleanup of the Saugatucket River on Earth Day. And so with us today is Bill McCusker, who has been chairing our meetings of the Friends of the Saugatucket, and I'm going to ask him to just fill us all in on what we've been doing. Bill?
Hi, again, like David said, I'm Bill McCusker, and the new group is the Friends of the Saugatucket. We took over for a group before called the Saugatucket River Heritage Corridor. Their successes amongst many was the river walkway along Main Street and Sari Sanctuary. And they haven't been together in quite some time. So that watershed has gone without a watershed group for lots and lots of years. So this is something my wife Elise and I put together, and we tied in some very good, smart people who are helping us along the way. It's a great group. And to reach out and check out our webpage, it's friendsofthesaugatucket.org, and you can contact us through Gmail at friendsofthesaugatucket@gmail.com. So like I said, we took over for the former group. In fact, the leader of the former group, Richard Yunkin, is one of our people, along with Susan Marcus from the EDC, and David likes to come in our meetings and help us out along the way. So we're working with a bunch of groups. I'll give you a quick rundown. The Salt Ponds Coalition is helping us with getting our nonprofit status. The Salt Ponds Coalition has been funded one of the sampling sites on the Saugatucket River. There were 3 in the past, but the Salt Ponds Coalition kept one going. We're working with URI Watershed Watch. We're planning on getting, if we can generate enough funding, to cover 3 sampling sites this year. One at the Main Street site where the footbridge is at that little dock. That's the one the Salt Ponds Coalition's been funded, and that's where there has been a history of samples. Another one is Saugatucket Pond, which Rich Youngkin is going to start sampling, and another one is to be determined. We haven't quite figured out where, but we'll work with URI Watershed Watch to come up with the best location for that area. So that's one of the things that we're working on. We're also working with Save the Bay. Save the Bay is putting, or has in the past put medallions on all the catch basins around the town. They've got a agreement to work with the state of Rhode Island, the DOT, to put or replace medallions on the basins on state roads. So we're already in the process of doing that. We're going to start that once the weather is a bit warmer. You need a day of 24 hours of over 40 to 45 degrees for the glue to stick. And we're also working with the town of South Kingstown because they purchased a bunch of them too. We want to be working them on town roads. And this is what these medallions look like. And, anybody want to come with us and get sticky fingers, that we can use the volunteers to get going on that. So we're also working with the Rhode Island Rivers Council. They're advising us on the best track to become members of the Rhode Island Rivers Council. Getting our nonprofit status is a key goal. So between that and the Salt Ponds Coalition, that's where we're heading. And we worked with, we're talking with the EDC. We have 2 members of the EDC on our committee, Mark Levitt and Susan Marcus, about their plans for working on the lower part of the Saugatucket in like an urban development project. So it's important that we pay attention to what they're doing and see how we can help and how it works, how we can work together. And the River Herring Collective, they're a new River Herring group that took over for an older group. They're working with DEM and the property owners of the different dams in the area to find out the best way to improve the runs. There's 2 main runs in our town. One of them outside of Narrow River. One of them is in Green Hill on Teal Brook, and the other one is the Saugatucket River, which if you've been down there, the herring are there now, and it's pretty exciting. So that's what these are the groups that we're working with in just a short time. I think we've had 3 meetings so far, but we've already reached out and did some field work. So we're moving right along. We do have that Earth Day cleanup on the 25th. Another group we're partnering with is the Ministerial Road Preservation Group. They're doing an Earth Day cleanup on the 24th, and some of our volunteers are going to work with them. And we've coordinated with the town of South Kingstown for the Parks Department to take all of our stuff. And we just have to get it to the Highway Department. So between the Ministerial Road Group and our cleanup, we hope to get a lot of stuff brought to the highway garage by the end of that weekend. We're going to meet at Old Mount Field on the 25th. It's going to be a socially distanced cleanup. What happens is you show up, you sign a waiver, we give you an area to clean, you go pick up, leave your bags on the side of the road or the sidewalks, and we come by and pick it up. So it's minimal contact with other people. So that's kind of exciting. We get a lot of good feedback from a lot of people. Years ago, my wife and I and a few others have done this. This year, we're going to have a lot more people. I at least think about 50 people that have said that they're going to work with us. And we're hoping for a lot more. So we'd like to take advantage of the free pickup from the town. So we're also working again with, we've worked with the town of South Kingstown. We found a business on Main Street that had a sewer backup that was leaking, and the town of South Kingstown responded immediately, if it wasn't for our eagle eye, to catch it, and made the business resolve their issue. So that's kind of the stuff that I think the Watershed Group should be doing, and it will be doing. And we're going to be reaching out to the Wakefield Village Association to see if we can participate and work with them for their Main Street events, because it focuses on the river in itself. And the Narragansett Environmental Awareness Day. That's another place we're going to be at to kind of promote the river and promote our group. So it's pretty exciting for the Saugatucket River. They got 3 groups that are focusing their attention on the river this year, where you had a bunch of years where really not a lot went on. So we're excited about that. So any questions from anybody?
Bill, why don't you focus on what we have a dysfunctional fish ladder at the Palisades. What's being done about that?
So the fish ladder at Palisades is inefficient. It works, but it's just not efficient. And last year, with COVID, there wasn't much for traditionally in the past, they did fish lifts where they would go and get a group of people and they lift the fish up over the bypass the fish ladder. And last year with COVID, nothing happened except for some work from DEM. And really, my opinion, I think the trawlers weren't trawling like they normally did. So we had a bumper crop of river herring. In fact, they bypassed the fish ladder and bypassed the mill and walked and wrapped around and worked their way up to the dam. And once they get beyond the culverts on 108, they can't, if there's not a lot of flow coming, they can't get back. So the idea is to continue working with their group is to try to work with DEM and the mill owner to find out if there's a best way that we can improve that in the future. Years ago, I think the Nature Conservancy had funding to repair that, and it just hasn't developed. And I think the River Herring Group is focusing on trying to initiate that to get that fixed, so this won't become a problem year after year after year. So,
yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot. The poor Saugatucket River has had so many issues over the years. I mean, right now it's got invasive plants, it's got milfoil, it's got fanwort, I think is the other one. If the Saugatucket ever gets what Chapman Pond and Westerly has, and that's the water chestnut, it's going to cost a lot of money to get that out of there. So that's a part of water quality monitoring. Is also river monitoring to see what's happening in that river and try to head it off before things become a bigger problem. The milfoil and the fanwort, they're there, and the only way you're going to get rid of that is to either dump the river or chemically treat it. And I don't even know if you can do that with the river. So we're going to have to just learn to live with it and educate people not to transport it from river to river, pond to pond. So DEM's got a great webinar that I attended on all the invasive plants and all the ponds, and we just have to educate the public. And I think David and I a few years back put signs out on the Saugatucket and other rivers that I think, Mary, you got for us. And
Yeah, I did.
yeah, and that's the first step in education. But then again, there is signs right next to it that says, don't feed the waterfowl, and people lean on it while they're throwing bread. So, but that's it. I mean, we can use help. We can use support. We're gonna go around and try to get funding from groups because the water quality part of it. The river sites like $500 a year, and the pond sites is like $700 a year, and that's just for the fees from URI. I mean, they're all being collected by volunteers, and so we're gonna need help from the community, and we're gonna need volunteers to advocate for the river as the best we can. And if you have a chance, go down and check out the river herring. They're really interesting. It's really fun. We're going to do a school group. There's a Wakefield elementary school. There's a 4th grade class with about 10 kids because they can't have a lot. They're going to come down either on the 16th or the 19th of April, and we're going to have an underwater camera so the kids can see the fish and just talk about the migration, because it's really interesting. And so many people drive over that bridge all the time and they don't know what's going on underneath. And I think it's our job to kind of point that out to everybody, because once they know about it, it's pretty fascinating. So.
I had a chance to see the video you have posted on your I guess it's your Facebook site, and that's impressive to see. It's from the 29th of March.
Yeah.
And it's got very good resolution, high definition image of the fish, the herring making it up the river. I was quite impressed, because I know there's been a lot of work over the years to cultivate getting that population back and moving through these rivers.
Right. We did that last year with, I represent South Kingstown on the Wood-Pawcatuck Wild and Scenic River Stewardship Council. So we did that last year with the Pawcatuck over in Shannock, and we got a lot of great feedback. So we stepped it up a little bit. So I did some video in Shannock, and I've been doing video on the Saugatucket, because once people see, I mean, you can tell them there's fish down there, but when you can see how big they are, and and how much work is involved. I mean, these things start out in the middle of the ocean. They go through Galilee all the way up, Point Judith Pond, get the mouth of the Saugatucket, They don't even stop at the Muse. They go all the way up to the dam and they climb that fish ladder, and then they make it all the way eventually to Indian Lake. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
So they're amazing, amazing fish. I'm impressed. But it's pretty cool.
And
And
also,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, there's what we learned from Bill Galpin, is it that how economically central they are to the local economy. I mean, herring, it's incredible what they, how many people are dependent upon them.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, back in colonial times, they had, the people that, like the Pilgrims, and when they came here, they had to send back, they had to pay their way of being here. So they had to send back a product to Europe, and, they did tobacco and lots of other things, but salted herring was a big thing, and it was just so plentiful. And everything relies on it. I mean, between the birds and the fish, I mean, everything. I mean, they are one of the bottom part of the food chain, and it's tough for it to be them, but it's just so vitally important that we protect them, not just from what's happening out in the ocean, but, to make sure that they can make it all the way up the streams to the ponds to do what they need to do so they can head back and come back another year. And when they put those dams in, way back when, that just shut it all down. And it's funny, once the fish ladder started showing up, the fish started coming back. So, it's a fish ladders work if they're done properly and they're maintained. It's really, really special. So make sure you check it out.
Cool.
Not to
Thank you.
mention too, I'm also a member, again, like I said, the Wild and Scenic Stewardship Council, and because you guys have been such great supporters, especially the town of South Kingstown and all the towns, we collected, we had a whole bunch of these hats made. If anybody wants one, talk to David. David's got a special one that he wears. We just want the word to get out. And if we can give you a hat and you can wear it once in a while, you're going to help us spread the words of what the Stewardship Council does. So yeah, get a hold of David and we'll get it to you as soon as possible. This is a campaign that for us to make you our ambassadors so you can spread the word about the wild and scenic rivers. So.
Bill, once again, for people who, want to, get involved, give us the email address again.
I was going to give you mine. It was friends of the Saugatucket at gmail.com. And then check out the webpage. Is friendsofthesaugatucket.org. If you just type in Friends of the Saugatucket, it'll direct you there. And then from there, you can find out the Gmail address, or get a hold of David, and David will get a hold of me, and we'll set you up. So
cool.
And reach out to him, and you can get these really cool sporty hats. You just look the best.
And 4 different colors.
And 4 different colors. While supplies last.
Bill, thanks for coming on. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for all the good work that you folks do. And we're going to rely on you in the future, and you look for your advice as we start to grow. So
Hey,
thank
Bill,
you.
one last question, Bill.
Sure.
What was the date that you were looking for volunteers to put those placards up?
It's going to be in May.
Okay.
We don't have a date yet. We have to wait for the weather to warm up, but David would be a great person to, Matthew, if you're looking to do that, I'll make sure David gets a hold of you, because David's going to get his fingers sticky with the rest of us, and
Sure.
he'll let you know. And if anybody else wants to, just reach out to David or reach out to me, or send an email, and we'll make sure we include you on that. What happens is the volunteers have to sign up as a volunteer through Save the Bay and sign the waivers, and there's a training video you got to watch. I guess it's make sure you don't step out in the road or something. And it's really something that we have to do. And then they're going to give us a bag with, safety vests and the glue and all that stuff. So, reach out to David, and we'll make sure we take good care of you. We'll take any volunteer. So,
Yeah, sounds good.
excellent.
You again.
All right. Thanks. And have a great
Thanks,
evening.
Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, I'm going to move on to our next new business, which is a tree planting project that I'm spearheading. It's focused on Torrey Road, where on the north side, the town is removing 6 decaying Norway maples, which we approved at our last meeting. And so my idea, which I'm moving forward on, is to plant 6 new trees on the south side where there is a very wide berm. It's maybe 10 yards wide, and it's the town right of way. And I actually was at Morningside Nurseries yesterday and actually contracted the 6 trees we're going to buy. We're going to buy 2 laurel willows. They're a century-old species. Survival rate is 90%. Very glossy leaves reflect the sunlight. We're doing 1 linden, which is going to grow to be 60 to 75 feet tall, which is happy in any kind of soil. We're buying, I say we, it's basically me, but we're buying a magnolia tripedita, which is an umbrella tree. It has large leaves and flowers in the spring that are 6 to 8 inches in diameter. And it's they're going to go to be 30 feet tall. And we're also buying 2 hackberries, which are going to grow to be 40 to 60 feet. Very low maintenance tree, edible fruit for birds and butterflies, tolerates droughts and pollution. And so I've contracted to do this, and we cannot vote on, I want to ask the Conservation Commission for some helping funds, but we can't vote on that tonight because it's not on the agenda to do that. With the total bill came to $890 for 6 trees. By the way, we're getting them at a wholesale price, which is literally half of the retail price, which is just wonderful. We're buying them from Morningstar Nurseries. We've, as a Conservation Commission, we've dealt with them before with our successful 2013 on-property plantings where we supplied 20 containerized trees. These are also containerized trees, 15-gallon containers. After we add the tax and the mulch, it comes out to be about $1,000. And I've got quite a few $100s left over from our now defunct Citizens Tree advocacy group, Act for SK, Advisory Council on Trees for South Kingstown. And I'm going to, I actually have a call into the neighbor across the street from the plantings, Bob Fetzer, who requested that these Norway maples be taken down. And I'm gonna, be asking him for a donation. And next month we'll have on the agenda my asking the Conservation Commission for a contribution from our funds. So I'm aiming for a planting on Arbor Day, which is April 30th. That's when I'm going to have the trees delivered. Prior to that, I will have dug the 6 planting holes, and we'll take it from there. So that's what's happening. If anyone wants to help with the digging, I'm thinking that I'm going to allow a couple of days, Wednesday and Thursday, the 28th and 29th for the digging. They're going to be at least 3-foot diameter holes, at least a foot deep. We can't do the final depth until we take them out of their containers, find the root flare, trunk flare, and measure how deep it needs to go. So there's some work there to be done. If you want to, dig in a little bit, we can do that. Like I say, I'm allowing 2 days. And then the planting is going to be on Friday, which is Arbor Day. And I haven't done any publicity yet, but because this is it's a private planting, but we're planting South Kingstown street trees. These are in the town right of way, and they're going to be town trees and protected by the tree ordinance. So that's where we're at with that. If anybody has any questions. Yes, Jay.
David, has DPS weighed in on this at all? Has the town weighed in on?
No, doesn't need to be. According to the tree ordinance, Article 18.5-30, permits required. The tree without a DBH greater than 2 inches does not need a permit. And these are 1-inch diameter trees. And but they're substantial. They're about 6 to 8 feet tall, depending upon which one. So
Do you
no.
think, do you think you should check with DPS?
Given the history of DPS and they're not wanting any new street tree plantings, the answer is no. I'm going to take care of all of the tree watering for the first 2 years, and as needed for the 3rd year, as we've done at various parks and other street tree plantings, like the 6 trees I planted on Saugatucket Road coming up 3 years ago. So no, I'm taking care of this myself.
Okay. And then I haven't had a chance to talk to finance or anything like that, but about transferring funds or potentially transferring funds or money. I'm a little nervous about procurement process. If you're going to be asking for, reimbursement, I don't know what finance would say about that, because it's not like we can just go out and purchase them from anywhere. We need to show lowest bidder or that nature. So I need to talk to Zach in finance, but again, we have a month before this comes back up again on the agenda, so I'll try to get that resolved by then.
Well, actually, in the past, when we did our 20 tree planting back in 2013, we did that out of our Conservation Commission budget. And we just, voted to do that. Those funds are not in, those funds are within our control. And that was a big deal. Prior to 2013, what had happened was we had a budget of about, and still do, about $800. And it was the town or town council, I guess, that allocated those funds in specific ways. They wanted a certain number to go to monitoring water quality in Warden's Pond was one of them, or Tuckertown Pond. They allocated that money for us. So we got control over that money since that time. So we were able to allocate it. Lorraine did this wonderful thing for 2 years of this educational process program for storm runoff for elementary school kids. And so we've been able to pretty much control where that money goes. And we've had control over that. And I would, next month, when we can put it on the agenda, I will be, requesting that we use that authority to allocate it. And if the commission decides no, then fine, no, I'll back it up myself. But that's where we're at this point. Does anyone have any questions? Or?
Yeah, actually, this is Rob Zernetsky. David, I think you certainly have control over the funds that the council has given to the commission. My only concern is that normal government, and you are a government entity, you are an agent of the town of South Kingstown when you're operating as fiduciary for those funds. And normal government procurement practice is to get the authority from the body that has control before the expenditure or contract is entered into. And I'm a little nervous about what we call a ratification of a prior contracting action. It's not unheard of. It happens. It's not good practice. We should try to avoid coming to a committee after the fact and asking for permission to do something that's already been done. That's my only caution.
Well, I gotcha. And actually, I was hoping to get that authority tonight, obviously way before Arbor Day. And it was Jay who checked in with Amy Goins saying that, authorizing any kind of expenditure has to be listed as an agenda item. So I did not have that information beforehand. I was hoping that we could, authorize this before April 30th. So that's my bind. I agree with you. I completely. But we can't vote on it tonight. So that's the problem.
Right. I understand.
Yeah, so at any rate,
It's not look, nobody's going to jail over this, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just, we need to sort of keep in mind that first things come first, and then the author. You're a little bit exposed here, and you know that, you recognize that, and you're
Yep.
willing to take that risk, and
Yep.
that's okay, I guess. I mean,
well, and I'm also willing to cover the expense if from my personal funds if the town isn't going to do it. So it's that I'm just checking out all the available avenues.
so then on this one, the only other question I had is, I did speak to John Schock, and he said, he's not sure where these might be going on Torrey Road. Is the idea to put these on private property, or is the idea to put them in the public right of way? What are we thinking?
They're going into the town right of way, which is a very wide right of way, by the way. It's opposite where the early maples are being taken down. It's, gosh, at least 10 yards wide. I got the GIS picture from Rich Bouillonnaise, and I'm planning on planting them opposite from where the other maples were. So there's a lot of space in between. It's right on the crest of Torrey Road, and it's a beautiful planting spot. And of course, I will be checking with DigSafe as usual. And all the ducks will be in a row for sure.
Okay, so I would ask that if this is going forward, that we do coordinate with John Schock and Rich to make sure that they know where they're going, and that they approve it prior to their planting. Again, it's just a matter of dotting I's and crossing T's before the fact. John has got concerns, as you know, about trees in the public right of way, because there's all sorts of liabilities that come with that. And that is an issue. So, I mean, he agrees with you, by the way, that this is a particularly wide spot, and it would be a good spot, if there's a good spot for trees in public right of way. This would be a good spot for them. So on that point, you're in pretty good stay. He did suggest that where the town really needs help is in the tree wells down on Main Street and 108, where trees have died. We do have a number of spots where trees have just not survived, that he'd like to see some effort put into. And we'll talk to him about that separately, if that's, if that's the committee.
Separate project, but sure. Yep. Well, if the town wants to go forward with that, we as the tree board would really want to help with that. Definitely. But this is an independent project, and but yeah, I agree. That would be a good thing.
So then the last thing, sort of in the I dotting T crossing category, is we really should get Bill Wallace involved before ground is broke and root balls are dropped in the ground, because that's his role, is to oversee the planting on public property in the town of South Kingstown. So we do have that I to dot as well.
But there is no permit required to plant trees that are less than 2 inches DBH.
I don't know. There may not be a permit requirement.
Correct.
There may not be a permit requirement, but we don't let private residents plant in the right of way.
Well, I've done it before.
Okay. Okay. Again, I'm not trying to give you a hassle, just trying to make sure that we're not.
Input. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Bill and I are in very good terms. I will give him a call for tomorrow and let him know what I'm doing. And yeah, I'll have him on my back. That'll be good.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jay, can you tell us how much money is in our fund?
I believe it's $800, unless that's changed.
And what are the dates that,
Ah,
what, does that annually
there
on a
is an
certain time?
expiration date. It's either, I believe it's the end of June, because I think that's the
That's-
end of the fiscal year.
That's correct. It's actually a little bit before that because they have to be committed. Those funds have to be
Yeah.
committed before the end of.
Yep.
But you're well within that time frame right now, and I believe you're right. It's either $800 or $900 available.
If it
Mr.
would,
Chairman,
Yeah.
if I may, I've got to jump. This phone is going to die on me, and I want to just make sure I know the committee had an interest in knowing something about the plastic bag ban. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to give that report before my phone dies.
please do. Thank you.
So the plastic bag, yes, the plastic bag ban is fully in force. It was temporarily waived during COVID, but that was
Right.
that expired months ago. We've been working with businesses on a sort of informal basis. Every time we hear something, we go out and we talk to them. We've got some folks who've been pretty recalcitrant about it. I don't know that we've communicated effectively to their management teams. We are going to send letters out to those folks in the very near future. So Shaw's is the one that I keep hearing about more than any other, but we're going to be sending letters to the merchants who were originally notified when the ordinance passed, that the ordinance is back in effect and that plastic bags should be discontinued as soon as current stock is used up.
That's great.
So I have a question regarding Shaw's. Or actually regarding the suspension of the ordinance and then reinstating it, and then Shaw's. So the ordinance, I realized, was suspended for a period of time. I think it was back in place as of July of 2020. And so I'm curious, why has any notice gone out to Shaw's to inform them that they
No written notice has been sent to anyone. What we have done is when we've had complaints, we have a police officer or a town employee go in and talk to whoever appears to be in charge of the facility. So I don't know, as I say, I don't know that we've effectively communicated to their management. I don't know that what we have is a recalcitrant corporate citizen here. It may simply be failure of communication.
And so if notices are going to go out, when are they going out?
In the very near future, a letter is being prepared. Last week was the start of the exercise. So I would imagine the letter goes out this week or next week.
And what do you anticipate telling the businesses that? Are you giving them a date to be in compliance?
No, we will give them until they have expired or used their inventory of plastic bags. We're not trying to create plastic waste. We're trying to avoid plastic waste finding its way into the environment. So we won't require that Shaw's throw out what they've got in stock, or anybody else for that matter. Use what you've got. And when that's gone, you really do need to be using paper, not plastic. All of the fines and penalties that are in place will be enforced after a reasonable period of time.
And lastly, how many establishments would you estimate in addition to Shaw's are going to receive this letter?
Right. So this is one of the reasons why it's not a simple when's it going out, because I have to go back to the list that was used when the original notification letter was sent. I don't know what that list entails. I know we've got about 2,200 businesses registered in South Kingstown. The vast majority of those are not retail establishments, and the vast majority of those do not use plastic bags, single-use plastic bags. So we're really talking about a subset of probably 100, 150.
So you're targeting those, though, that you've received calls or complaints on, is that right?
No, on this mailing, I anticipate mailing it to every business that was previously identified as a likely user of single-use plastic bags. When the ordinance was enacted 2 years ago, we sent a letter out to all of the identified businesses, folks at convenience stores and restaurants and grocery stores and markets and that kind of thing. And we notified them that the ordinance had been enacted. I want to go back to that list and send it to those people again.
Okay. Would you provide a copy of the letter when it goes out to the Conservation Commission as well?
Yes, we will provide a copy through Jay to the Conservation Commission. Yes.
Rob, I'd like to interject here that this is a golden opportunity. If you're sending these letters out to everyone that we did before, I'd like to have you interject a clause that encourages them to purchase or, put out for sale even reusable bags, and it can have their store logo on it. It's a great business opportunity for these guys, and I would just encourage the alternative. In other words.
Yep, and I believe the original letter did just that. I think the original letter noted that you could purchase reusable bags from the Chamber of Commerce. I'll look at the original letter. Again, I've asked, somebody in my office to start putting this together. I asked them to do that last week or the week before even. And when, I get the draft, I'll compare it to what was sent the first time. And if it's, if it can be improved upon, we'll do that. Again, this is really more about good citizenship than it is about being bag cops. We really don't have the capacity to bust 150 businesses for plastic bags. We have to use a carrot stick here, not just a hard oak stick.
Right. I don't think anyone wants to be a bag cop. I think that I'm not even sure there are 150 businesses that are not in compliance, but there are.
I don't think there are.
There are at least one that I can tell that is not in compliance, that can easily be in compliance. And if everyone else has to comply, especially a competitor just down the road, why can't it comply?
That's correct.
I'm just curious as well. Did other communities in the state that had the ordinances in effect kind of provide some relief on that? And do we know how our time frame for putting it back into place occurred, or was it pretty much an independent call from different communities?
Yeah, it was an independent call by different. Most communities did temporarily suspend the enforcement of their bag bans. Some may have actually repealed their bag bans. It was quite a strong reaction when COVID first hit and supply chains were as miserable as they were. I don't know. I don't have a good sense of how we compare in terms of not quite post-COVID enforcement. I don't think too many municipalities, although I don't have good information, I don't think other municipalities are out there fully enforcing the plastic bag bans at this point. I don't think that we're an outlier in that we've been several months, at least quite a few months, where we've been lax in the enforcement. I don't think that's an unusual circumstance in Rhode Island.
Probably not. Probably not.
Well, Rob, maybe you should hang up before your phone dies.
Yeah, it just rang. It's at 9%, so not much longer.
Well, thank you for keeping us up to date on that, by the way. Appreciate it.
No, be well.
Yep, you too. Thanks.
Thanks, Rob.
Back to item E, number 3, discussion on any relevant and pending state legislation. Jay?
I have no update on that. Lorraine, I'm not sure if you've heard anything, any grumblings, but I don't have any.
No, I haven't heard anything. But I'm also not on the legislative committee. I know the forest management plan, or there's an act to support for better forest management by DEM. That's getting a lot of publicity from Audubon and Grow Smart. So that's one that is something to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I did take a look today while saw this item on the agenda, and I went on the General Assembly website, and frankly, I was rather impressed with a number of bills that have been submitted for consideration. It's obviously from just going through on a word search basis, you don't necessarily capture what's got steam and what's just a placeholder right now. But I was surprised to see House bills associated with eliminating some single-use plastic straws, for instance. A number of these were originated by David Bennett in the House of Representatives. There's another one that focuses on polystyrene styrene food or beverage utilization, looking ahead to say January of 23 of having that be something that is no longer provided. There's a fairly large scale bill that apparently was introduced last year, and it's been reintroduced in 21, that actually does a very broad look at economic and climate resistance. So it's focusing on the real sources of carbon being the sale of fuels and looking at generating a source of funds that get reinvested in economic development projects that point towards getting away from the fossil fuels. That had a number of people introducing that bill. So that one I really surprised me because I've really heard nothing about it, and it has been around at least for 1 year leading into this. And I don't know if I didn't actually come across any reintroduction of the plastic bag bill again so that it would become a statewide. But I was surprised to see these others, and that certainly Bennett was a name that appeared a number of these occasions. But I was encouraged that there's more at least in the presentation than I would have expected, particularly with all the other distractions this year.
Vern, thank you for staying on top of that. Appreciate it. And if you could, plan on checking that out for each of our meetings and have that be an agenda item, that would be great.
Yeah. I'm exposing a little bit of my activity in my other life. A little bit, yeah.
Okay, moving on to item G, correspondence and public comments. Jade, is there anybody out there who wants to raise their hand?
I have nothing to report on public correspondence, and I do not see anyone outside of the commission members here this evening.
Item H is update from staff on planning department activities. Jay?
We are wrapping up the comprehensive plan that's going to council this month for a public hearing. We have cleared the deck on a few rather large applications in a pretty steady pipeline. So we're in a good place to start looking at implementation of the comp plan and reviewing our zoning ordinance for inconsistencies with the new plan once it gets approved.
Jay, where can we get or download or look at a copy of the comp plan before it goes to town council?
It's been on the website. It's on the website, the town website, under the planning department and the 2021 comprehensive plan.
Okay.
You can find it there. It's been there for quite a while, 6
Quite a
months.
while.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm curious if there's have been any activity on that rather unusual project that involved a winery taking over some property there across from the Commons. Has there been any further activity on that through the planning board?
Yes, they've applied, they've submitted their preliminary plan application. They've gone through TRC and one planning board meeting, and they're scheduled to return to the planning board the end of this month, I believe, on the 25th. Maybe it's not the 25th. Whatever the fourth Tuesday is, it escapes me at the moment.
Has there been any?
I'm sorry, 27th.
Okay.
Has there, Jay, has there been any further comment or objection to their being part of the SMD?
No, that went to council and got approved.
Okay.
The amendment, the proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan associated with that application were approved at council.
They're doing a lot of, Vern, if you drive into Prout's parking lot, you could actually circle the property. They've done quite a bit of clearing.
Ah,
It's a magnificent structure that was there, that is
Yeah.
there, still there, stone
Yep.
structure.
It's nice, yeah.
Yeah, they've exposed quite a bit of the property, but they've also, you can see right down to the ocean now.
oh, nice, nice. Yeah, I went through that building many years ago for the university, so I was impressed with it. It just didn't match anything that made sense for us as a satellite outfall. So I'm just encouraged to have some activity to see that that's restored.
I would be concerned about the clearing on that downgrade, because I would think any vegetation, trees, whatever, shrubbery would help anchor the soil for that downgrade for as far as, runoff.
Right. I don't know what they've done on the side, on the narrow river side. I know on the, between Prout and the main structure or structures, there's been quite a bit of clearing.
Okay.
done.
I was there, I was on site about a week and a half ago. And the activity that occurred was they removed the trees along the boundary with Prout and along the entrance road once you get into the middle of the property. So not so much the long driveway coming in off of Route 1. It's once you get onto, say, just in front of the building.
Yeah.
The trees in that area were taken down and removed in preparation for the vineyard that they need to put in. Obviously, the vineyard needs clearance from root systems and trees. So the cutting and the activity was limited to that area. I don't believe there's any other activity further east or southeast of there towards the river. It was primarily just the trees surrounding that open field in front of the building.
Yep. Okay, item L, next meeting date and agenda items. Next meeting date is going to be Tuesday, May 4th. If anybody wants to bring anything forward to Jay, give him a good 10 days notice. Certainly, Jay, I want to put on down possible expenditure of funds for the tree planting. And obviously, if any other member wants to suggest any expenditures for our funds, like I say, I think it expires the end of June. I think that's the end of the fiscal year, and they have to be allocated, as Jay said, at least a couple of weeks before that. So we essentially have 2 meetings to figure out how we're going to use the rest of the budget. So that's just a heads up. If anybody has any ideas, well, let's just put that as an agenda item. Expenditure of Conservation Commission funds for a fiscal year ending June 30th. Okay. Anybody have anything else regarding agenda items for the next meeting?
I have one question. So the vote on the potential school move to Curtis Corner is on the same. Yep, it's on the same day as our next meeting. I just wanted to touch base on where we left off, because I know that Melissa Toll had come and spoken with us, but we had kind of decided that there wasn't enough information for us to even weigh in on the things that she was requesting we weigh in on. Do we know how they're using our input, or if they're using our input at all?
Yeah,
at this point?
Matt, I've gotten involved in this, and I'm attending, if you can believe it, another Zoom meeting tomorrow morning at 7:45. And this is the building committee. But basically, this is a runaway train. I mean, everybody's lobbying for their particular side on the referendum for May 4th. So I don't know what the context of tomorrow's meeting is going to be. I have a couple of concerns that I'm going to bring up, such as, was there an environmental assessment or an environmental impact statement made? And the budget that we've seen is extremely articulated. I mean, item by item, the building, the concrete blocks, the lighting, it's all articulated, and people who've been involved with this much more than I, and I've been only peripherally involved, have real questions as to how accurate this budget is. And they feel it's actually underreported. But basically, if you want to check in, you can be not a participant necessarily. This is invitees for conservation, the various commission heads, chairs, and such, but anybody can tune into this meeting tomorrow, and anybody can raise their hand with questions. It's only an hour and a quarter. So it's, getting up real early for what? But, I would say if you want some info, this is a good time to do it. Also, the building committee has its own website, and you can, hear their promotion of what they're, proposing. And there really hasn't been much publicized, except in the newspapers, the opposition to this plan, rather than resurrecting the Columbia Street site. The opposition has been focused on what it's going to do environmentally to the Curtis Corner Park. And it's not just the disc golf, it's increased impermeable area, parking, and with the parking for the students, it sounds like it might be really hard for anyone during the school day to park there and use the facility. So these are some of the issues I've been gleaning. It's all there online. And like I say, there's this ridiculously early Zoom meeting tomorrow morning, which you can certainly, chime in on. So,
yeah, could you, can you email me the link to that, or do you know if there's is it listed on the town's website?
Yeah. Actually, no. I will email you that thing. I will do it. I'll do that as soon as we get off.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the risk of spreading a rumor, someone on the sustainability committee had mentioned to me that
someone
had mentioned that there was some correspondence that they had seen, that it sounded like some of the phrasing that, I don't know if it was Melissa Toll or if it was someone else that's spearheading that move, had used phrasing something along the lines of, we met with the Conservation Commission and the Sustainability Committee. Nothing about what the results were from that meeting, or a lack of results. And I didn't know how prevalent that line was, or how much that was being used to sort of quell concerns of the public that might be, in opposition to the environmental impact of things, but like, oh, okay, they met with the Sustainability Committee, or they met with the Concom. So someone who knows better than I is taking care of it.
Well, I haven't heard any of that. I do remember that we basically said that we didn't have enough information to make any kind of finding at all, because we asked questions such as I just mentioned and didn't get, any really good answers. And that's why tomorrow I'm going to be bringing up apparently an environmental impact statement is only for projects that use federal funds, as far as requiring one. But at any point, the town could have required that, but we should at least be getting an environmental assessment on the impact of this thing. So that's all I know for now, but I will get you that link.
Quick question. When did they meet? When did they meet with the ComCom?
I would have to ask Jay for that. I don't know. It was last year.
Was it pre-Zoom or post-Zoom?
Yeah, it was pre-Zoom. So that was time ago. Yeah.
Did they actually meet with us or we just reviewed material?
I don't ever remember meeting with them.
No, me either.
Neither do I. I don't remember ever seeing anything about this.
I think that there was a Zoom meeting as well. It might have been the second. It might have been a follow-up.
Well, I have to confess, I get my TRC meetings and CONCOM meetings confused, and I have paperwork here at my feet. So it could have been at a TRC meeting. I don't recall. I would have to lean on Jay for that.
David, are the plans online at the school committee's website?
They are online if not the school committee, the building committee, and you can search it, Google it, and
Yeah.
you'll get the plans and follow the links.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is there a public forum?
There will
Meeting tomorrow morning.
be in May. There will be in May. This is not technically a public forum, but it's a public meeting by law. I don't know what the agenda is. I don't know what the frame of discussion is going to be. So they're just inviting, I hate to use what they use as a word, but they're inviting committee and commission chairs, and I don't know whom else, to be kept up to date, I guess, is what they're doing. So it's their narrative. And we're just there essentially to listen. I don't know how much input in an hour and a quarter we're going to be allowed to give. So I will be there, but I really don't know the framework. I mean, these are people who are leading the meeting, who have been pushing this aspect, this plan. And so one of my questions is, with all this detailed funding, articulation of funding, was any such detail put out regarding revamping the Columbia Street site, the current high school?
Okay.
And so that's one thing I'm going to, be wanting to know. And it's a short meeting for a lot of information, so I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah, and I'm just to reiterate, I'm irked by that same narrative that they're putting out, that's sort of implying that they met with us and leaving out the fact that they did not receive our blessing.
Exactly. Yep.
So, and I think it's a shame that this whole thing, that such an important thing is getting put forward. I mean, there's not much we can do about it, but it'd be nice if COVID wasn't happening and we could have an actual public meeting and, have members of the public turn out in person. It's too bad that this vote is coming up at the time that it is.
I agree. It's happening really soon. It's 3 weeks away or something. Yeah, it's crazy. But I would say articulate letters to the editor in the Narragansett Times. That seems to be the best forum that I can think of right now. And I think those pages are going to get really full in the next 3 weeks prior to this vote. It's really key. So time is now. I'm going to move on to item number J, the designation of a duty member for the April 14th, 2021 Technical Review Committee. That is on a Wednesday, and it usually starts at 9 o'clock. I am available if anyone else wants to take a turn. That's fine by me. Does anybody else have any interest in attending the TRC meeting?
I just want to clarify, I believe it's going to be at 2:00. I believe it's going to be at 2:00 this month. It's at the pleasure of the planning board
Yeah,
representative.
yep.
That is Paul Jordan, and he was conflicted, and I believe we are moving that to 2.
Okay. So the question goes back to the membership. Anybody interested in attending, representing us?
Not
Okay.
me, I'll be working, so it's all yours, David, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
You can put me down. You there, Jay?
He's
You're
muted.
muted.
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I took a webinar on Robert's rules, and because it was given for particularly with dealing with Zoom meetings. And they said that, or the guy who was leading it said that for adjournment, contrary to what I'd heard, what I'd been told, I have to ask for a motion. So I went to the website, and it's kind of like a Robert's Rules chat room. And it wasn't in frequently asked questions. I did pose the question, haven't heard back. To be safe, I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
Okay, who moved, by the way?
Lorraine?
Chris?
It was
Chris.
Chris.
Lorraine and I did simultaneously.
Right, we had the same idea.
All right, and who seconded?
I did.
Vern.
Okay, Vern, thank you. All right, any further discussion? Meeting is adjourned at 7:08.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Jay, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Good night.